Like you can get a full court game going on the foot. Like so, not to mention Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, right? And what did Chris Rock say? Money will turn a bald spot into a part. Yeah, it'll also turn a salute into a hello. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters and I'm troubled. Well, folks, we've been hearing the rumors for weeks now, but he's gone and done it. Elon Musk is leaving the federal government. I know. Yes, I know. And at a time like this, I think it's important to remember the good old days.
Elon Musk has got to go! Elon Musk has got to go!
But you know, Elon, look on the bright side. There is a future after you leave the federal government. Just ask Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy, you remember the dude, the brown dude? You know what? I'll send you his information later. And you know, this is a great opportunity to spend some time with your family. You know what I mean? Or even grow your family.
Ashley St. Clair, this right-wing influencer who over the weekend said that she gave birth to Elon Musk's 13th kid sometime last year.
People who say they know her and they've known about this alleged baby for months, they say she was scorned. She was just really mad at Elon about his involvement in the kid's life, child support.
Holy juicy gossip. Did you hear about Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller? Stephen Miller is the author, or one of the authors of Project 2025, and his wife, Katie Miller, is an equal piece of trash. But she works for the White House, and apparently she decided to leave her White House post to go work in the private sector with someone else who just announced that they're leaving government. Who just announced they're leaving the government? Oh, Elon Musk. So the rumor is that Elon Musk and Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, are having an affair. And if you want more juice, look on Twitter, because apparently Stephen Miller and Elon have been beefing. I don't know, I'm not on Twitter, I don't subscribe to that bullshit. But that's the word on the street. That Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, and Elon having a relationship, going off into the private sector together. This administration is a gift that just keeps on giving.
I didn't mean you to take that literally and growing your family, Elon. That's not what I meant. This must be those Republican family values. This must be those far right family values we keep hearing and they beefing on Twitter. You know, where are the fathers in the home to stop them from taking this public? You know, I'm tired of this. I have fatigue. Yeah, I have fatigue. And this ain't the first time that we heard of drama. You think that's why Scott Bessent screamed on him? You think it was over this right here? Elon Musk suffered humiliating West Wing tongue lashing. F you. Musk and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent had a screaming match in April with President Donald Trump in earshot. You know, Donald is slipping. We have talked about that with regards to the transcript. So maybe Donald misheard it. Maybe it wasn't F you. Maybe it was she F'd you. You know what I mean? Maybe it was something along those lines. Well, Donald might have misheard Scott Bessent, but he didn't mishear him ready to throw hands. Yeah, he was ready to throw them things. He was ready to throw it all away. Elon Musk's swift departure from his signature Department of Government efficiency in the White House was escalated by an outburst that turned violent, according to a high-profile insider. Former Chief Strategist Steve Bannon told DailyMail.com that Musk's turbulent time in the White House was marred when he's physically shoved 62-year-old Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent after he was confronted over wild promises to save the administration trillion. Scott Bessent called him out and said, you promised us $1 million in cuts and now you're at like 100 billion and nobody can find anything. What are you doing? And that's when Elon got physical. It's a sore subject with him. It wasn't an argument. It was a physical confrontation. Elon basically shoved him. See, this is that kind of behavior that they be talking about in the black fatigue argument. You know, this is exactly what they don't know how to act. You know what I mean? They don't know how. It's the culture. You know what I mean? I think it is the culture. And don't think it's lost on me that Steve Bannon out here turning state's evidence. It says he should go back to South Africa. Why do we have South Africans, the most racist people on earth, white South Africans, making any comments at all on what goes on in the United States? From Steve Bannon? Just out here telling it all. That is crazy. But you know, since I'm not MAGA, I'm gonna keep it buttoned up. You know, I'm gonna keep it to policy. I'm not, you know, we can't be out here doing rumors and whatnot.
Oh my God, today. Y'all know I don't normally do news and information that you can use that is nasty and rank. But this, baby, sit down. I know you probably already heard of it, but I hadn't heard about it because I pay attention to news and information that you can use so I can transpose it directly to you. But as I was sitting in my car waiting for the rain to subside because I'm about 30 miles away from my house, I figured, you know what? Let me go ahead and just scroll just a little bit and let's read up what's on the news. And this word popped up for me, and it's called throple. Why y'all didn't tell me what a throple was? Grab your tea. Let's go. Now, according to what I have recently read, Stephen Miller, you know, the Stephen Miller that wants everybody to be patriotic and do the things and to be staunch and be whatever, even though your family came over. Okay, we're not going to go there. We're going to stay on task, Paulette. Stay on task. Do not squirrel. Stephen got a wife. Wife's name is Katie. He told Katie, go hang out with Musk over there with Doge and make sure that he's doing what he said he was going to do and make sure that he's doing what we want him to do and all of the things and coerce and do all of the things. And oh boy, did she. She did that, or she did it so well. She did it so well that now that Musk is leaving the Trump administration, so is she.
Y'all done got Bonita Betrayal from In Living Color telling everything. That's where we at right now. And by the way, touche on use of the word rank. As I've said before, we need to make rank great again. Rank was one of the funniest words of my childhood. My mom used it a lot when she changed my bedding. Now, what you mean to tell me is that Stephen Miller was the one that brought them together?
We have Stephen Miller, right? You know who he is. If anything happens to Taco, then he will be the next president. He is the architect, the mastermind, basically, of Project 2025.
Hey, J.D. Vance, why are you crying? No, stop. Your mascara is running. Yeah, I heard what she said. I don't know what she meant by Stephen Miller would take over, but I do know what she meant by Taco.
Donald, question over here.
Yeah, please.
What do you have to say about the Wall Street analyst's new coined phrase, taco trade? As in, Trump always chickens out when it comes to your tariff policies.
I kick out?
Not kicked out, chickens out.
Cold turkey.
No, not cold turkey. That's a different bird. Chicken, as in,
Okay, so he has a wife named Katie Miller, and Katie Miller was assigned. She is Steve Miller's wife, right? So Elon Musk was Doge. Katie Miller was the go-between between Stephen Miller and his position in the government and Doge. She was the liaison between the two, right? So she had a lot of communication and meetings and private time with Elon Musk.
Now, I can't imagine that private time with Elon Musk would be would be the thing. Like, you know how back in the day you used to put on a deep voice, you know, when you talking to, hey, what's going on? I just put on a deep voice to get on the phone. Yeah, how you doing? Now I was wondering you come to the dance with me. You remember how does he have a put on personality? Is there something that we don't see? This the same man who was jealous of Marco Rubio because he was good on TV. Musk reportedly sneers that Marco Rubio is good on TV as top diplomat airs grievances about Doge cuts during explosive meeting. See, that's that culture I was telling you about. That is that culture. You know what I think it's the classical music. Yeah, I think it must be the classical music that just rots their brain. You know, it's crazy to think that they couldn't get along. You know, when this country has given them everything in order to survive. Now, one thing I can say, though, in his criticism of Marco Rubio, at least he's good on TV, I can see how you would say that.
So, you know, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
Well, I can tell you this: the BBW subgenre is furious that you would say a thing like that. But when it comes to all of Doge's cuts being wiped out in the first year, well, that's no problem. It's not like this whole thing has cost you anything.
Elon Musk is now hammering Donald Trump for what he says is undermining his Doge team and treating them like whipping boys. Whipping boys, that is a quote. Elon Musk went on the attack against Donald Trump's new spending bill. You know, Trump's big, beautiful one that could add $3.8 trillion to the deficit. Well, Musk, he doesn't think it's so beautiful.
I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
Translation, I did all the cutting. I slashed entire departments. My brand, my reputation got crushed. Look what happened to my stock. And now this bill deletes all of it. And there was even more breaking with Trump.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
His personal opinion, for the first time in a long time, is not Trump's. I mean, there is some serious beef here because I want you to remember the first 100 days. Elon Musk was everywhere. It seemed like he was sleeping under Donald Trump's desk. Every cabinet meeting, every trip that Donald Trump was on, Musk was standing right next to him. It was like he was the boss of the cabinet members. And suddenly that's gone. And now he's even saying maybe he did spend too much time on politics. He's unhappy with how everything has turned out. But I would just say one thing. Is he totally unhappy? I think back to all the investigations, all the lawsuits Elon Musk and his companies were facing, and they seem to have disappeared. So while a lot of value in his stock has disappeared, a lot of what he said Doge was going to do has disappeared, and maybe this bill is going to blow all of it up. But Elon Musk had a lot of headaches a few months ago, and they disappeared too.
Well, you know what they say, the love of a good woman really relieves your stress. You know, so maybe there's a new woman in his life, and all of a sudden, you know, those headaches and those backaches don't hit the way that they used to. You know, I know that's something that worked for me. Huh? You feel bad for Stephen Miller. Don't.
Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash? And we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it.
That's young Stephen Miller, and he's always been an asshole. He's Trump's deputy chief of staff for policy and homeland security advisor. He's also known as Trump's brain. Leaked emails show he's a white nationalist, which isn't surprising given that he's behind immigration policies like family separation and the Muslim travel ban. His emails show that in 2015 and 16, he promoted white nationalist books, websites, and conspiracies to editors at Breitbart, a far-right news site. More than 80% of the 900 plus emails reviewed focused on race or immigration, referring to the debunked conspiracy theory that non-white people are deliberately wiping white people off the planet. He referred to President Calvin Coolidge in his emails journals multiple times, backing his eugenics-based immigration policies once praised by Hitler. He was upset when some retailers stopped selling Confederate flags and symbols after the Charleston church shooting by white supremacist Dylan Roof, and encouraged Breitbart to create a counter-narrative. He often recommended articles from white nationalist websites like American Renaissance and Be There to highlight interracial crime. He pushed for coverage of The Camp of the Saints, a French novel loved by white nationalists for its racist depiction of non-white immigrants. He loves pushing false racist narratives so much that in 2017, as Trump's senior advisor, he reportedly blocked the release of a government study showing that refugees had a positive fiscal impact. But that's not all. He's friends with Richard Spencer, the most notorious white nationalist in the US. Spencer was a central figure to the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville in 2017. This guy went to high school with Miller and had a lot to say.
Stephen Miller was never bullied in high school. Stephen Miller was the bully. He bullied the kids who are already marginalized by our society, and he continues to do that from the White House today.
Well, look, now he gets to be a full-blooded cuck. You know, isn't that the thing that they love to throw out at people? And as we know, every accusation is an admission. So we have that. Huh? Oh, you feel bad for Katie Miller? Yeah, don't.
Stephen Miller's wife Katie will join Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy at the Department of Government Efficiency. What kind of person would be married to Stephen Miller? Well, a classmate said of Katie, the only thing she loves or values in this world is power. Anything she attaches to in her life is simply a pawn to feed her addiction to it. Another classmate said, I genuinely believe there is something wrong with her. She lacks a moral compass and demonstrates elements of a sociopath. Her husband was the architect of the child separation policy during Trump's first term. One White House advisor told Vanity Fair, Stephen actually enjoys seeing those pictures at the border. He's a twisted guy. Katie seemed to enjoy it as well. She told journalist Jacob Soboroff that the Department of Homeland Security, quote, sent me to the border to see these separations for myself, to try to make me more compassionate, but it didn't work. These two lovely people now have 3 children of their own.
Now, I'll be honest, I kind of identified with the first half. When the classmate said, I think there's something wrong with her. I was like, they could have said that about me. I could see that. But then it definitely took a turn when it came to their complete inability to elicit any level of empathy for children. And not only that, they consider it a badge of honor. They're admitting and openly bragging about the fact that they have no empathy for children. So naturally, that's what you want in parents.
So here's Marvel villain Stephen Miller, the one who created the child separation policy with Trump, the one who's all about getting rid of the brown people and everything. So he's married to Katie Miller, and I did not know that he actually made some babies. Like,
And I believe it was that short. I believe that was a dramatic reading of the actual procreation.
So Katie Miller and Stephen Miller and Elon Musk are all trending. The word throple is trending. But now I see from this picture, and I just discovered this picture after I made my other video, that they have actually done things together. And now my worldview has been... And this is just a good opportunity for me to post this. Hey to Christina says, so Elon Musk was cucking known alpha male Stephen Miller. Now, obviously, alpha male should be put in quotations. That's pretty great. I don't even need to write a joke. That's funny enough. And then Catherine says, I would love to see Miller challenge Musk to a duel. Pistols at dawn. It's been too long since our country had that energy in our politics. Absolutely. Where's the duel? And then Randy Metawolf had to come in. There's no such thing as alpha male. And then Hater Christina says it was a joke. But just imagining any of these people, Stephen Miller or Elon Musk, doing the that's not a particularly funny joke. But here we are. That was not expected. That I wasn't expecting that on my 2025 bingo card. But that is where we are right now with this MAGA messiness.
Now, shout out to Bourbon Bougie. She has a full breakdown on her channel. But you mean to tell me this might have been orchestrated?
So the DC rumor mill has it that Stephen Miller, his wife Katie Miller, and Elon Musk were in some sort of thruple situation. The original intent was that Katie Miller would serve as a sort of honeypot, which would enable Stephen Miller to control, in some sense, Elon Musk. Well, today, Elon Musk left Doge, and he's apparently taking Katie Miller with him. Apparently, Stephen Miller is currently subtweeting angrily at Elon Musk. So my question is, hypothetically speaking, if Katie Miller did really leave Stephen Miller for Elon Musk, is that an upgrade or a downgrade? I can't decide because Stephen Miller and Elon Musk are both objectively horrible. One thing is for certain, Katie Miller has horrible taste in men. And in a strange way, that comforts me because I've always had a broken picker, but at least my taste in men isn't as bad as Katie Miller's.
All right, that was a whole lot to unpack. First of all, I've been using honeypot wrong my whole life. I didn't know what I was putting out into the world because I drink a lot of tea, so I have honey to sweeten the tea, and I'll put it in the. Wow, I got a whole lot to clean up when I finish this video. As far as an upgrade or a downgrade, well, I would have to say that is disturbing as the idea of Elon Musk sleeping with somebody is. We know it's happened a lot, apparently. I know we've had to cross this bridge before when it comes to that's a well-beaten path. Stephen Miller, on the other hand, you know what I mean? You can get a full court game going on the foot. So not to mention Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, right? And what did Chris Rock say? Money will turn a bald spot into a part. Yeah, it'll also turn a salute into a hello. So by virtue of not being the richest man in the world, I'm gonna have to probably go with an upgrade. But that's not to say it speaks very well of Katie Miller's taste. But look on the bright side, Katie Miller. It's always good to have somebody whose picker is worse than yours, and you got Hope Hicks right there.
So Musk is out and he's taken Stephen Miller's wife with him. Do I have that right? The same article that reported the thruple rumor also reported that the Millers had gotten close to Musk in order to run him like an asset, with Katie Miller joining Doge to keep a closer eye on Elon. And Stephen went around DC saying he was running Musk, using his wife as Elon's handler. Anyway, Musk is publicly dragging Trump on tariffs and his big beautiful bill, while withholding a cool $100 million in pledged political slush fund donations. Oh, and he's tantruming out of DC, and Miller's wife has decided to leave the Trump administration and go with him. All of this would be funny in and of itself, but the published DC rumor mill also has Stephen Miller and Katie Miller in a torrid polycule situation together. So now it very much looks like Stephen Miller tried to use his wife to honeypot Musk into compliance, but managed to lose his wife to Musk instead. Damn, a Fidel Castro moment. That's crazy. Stephen appears to be attempting to post through it by tweeting Musk on Musk's own platform. For inquiring minds, here's the Wired article strongly implying the thrupeldom.
And by the way, here is the Wired article which breaks down all of this, and once again, we have another use of honeypot that made me feel weird on the inside. How many just innocent words and phrases am I going to lose in adulthood? It's crazy. Now, Elon, I don't know why, after seeing how things went with your last baby mama, the right-wing influencer that had her Tesla publicly removed, I don't know why you would get involved with anything publicly now at this point other than out of spite. I think you should probably put most of your time and energy into Tesla.
He was fired from one of his jobs. Now his other job is not happy with him. And I love that they specified how much time that they are requiring him to work. because otherwise they know that he would just be tweeting and saying stuff about Mars instead of actually doing any work. Now we all get to see together if he's toxic enough to take this company down with him.
They demand you work a 40-hour work week. Wow. It's almost like you have to submit to some kind of standards in order to legitimize your income. You know, that's amazing. That is incredible that they would have certain specific expectations of your workflow to warrant the money that you receive. That's crazy. You know, Elon Musk, he don't deserve that. You know, he don't deserve that. He's the kind of man, he should just be able to roam in and get whatever contracts he wants and get money just for hanging out on Twitter with all the sycophants that glad hand him 24/7.
So now that Trump and Elon have broken up, I think it's time for us to take inventory of who won and who lost in that relationship. And the lesson here, kids, is do not do drugs while you're also trying to do corruption, because Trump made out like a bandit. He got $300 million in campaign donations. He got somebody he could put out there as a punching bag for some of his most unpopular policies. And really the only cost to Trump was that he had to spend time with Elon, which is not nothing. We're putting that as a liability. But considering everything else he got, you know, that's pretty good. Now, on the other hand, for Elon, he got permanent, irreversible reputational damage on a global scale. Pretty big loss there. $300 million in campaign donations. Not nothing. And he was humiliated when Doge didn't even come close to delivering on its $2 trillion deficit reduction program. But I will put one thing in the plus column, and that is he got to be the most special little boy for like 5 months. Trump took him to Mar-a-Lago. They went golfing together. He got to run wild at cabinet meetings, and that counts for something.
Now, a couple of corrections there. The negative in the Trump column for having to be around Elon Musk is a devastating negative. Let's be honest. Like, he was there for Thanksgiving. He was there for Thanksgiving. No. That is a devastating negative. Let's not minimize what be around Elon Musk really costs your soul. That's number one. Number two, we know about the losses to Tesla, but he does in fact have other companies. In fact, he has companies that he was able to secure government contracts while he was here in DC. And who knows what they were in these buildings and in these administration organizations, these cabinet buildings, doing with the information. So we're not entirely sure exactly financially how much he's able to parlay this. And also we'll see whether those government contracts actually stick. However, your point that you started with, don't do drugs while you also do corruption.
In a lengthy article citing people familiar with his activities, the New York Times reports that Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. I learned that today from the New York Times, didn't know that. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall, according to a photo of the box and people who have seen it. The Times adds that while his drug use on the campaign trail was more than occasional, it is unclear whether he was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House this year.
Stop it. Get some help. Touche. Like that is the kind of education that I feel like these kids should be getting. And they don't, you know, they don't learn the stuff that is really applicable to our society today in 2025. But I'm sure Stephen Miller will be on that. And by the way, since this story has yet to be told, Stephen Miller, you gonna take that? Huh? You gonna take? I'm not trying to start that. I'm just. You gonna take that?
Is it true that Stephen Miller's wife left him for an immigrant? An African immigrant?
Few bitches that are rich, that but it's not enough.
If this is in fact true, taking Stephen Miller's wife will be the closest that I have and probably will ever come to claiming Elon Musk as an African American. And by closest, I mean like I'm up to 0 to like 2%. Hey, special shout out to everybody who joined me at our last Members Live. I done lost weeks of my life watching the most ratchet content you can ever imagine. That's just, I feel like it's a palate cleanser for me. Now, we're going to be doing a whole lot more of these. It is available to everybody who's in deep water or troubled water, and there's a link to membership in the description box to all of the videos. This is, of course, in addition to my regular Tuesday lives every week at 8 p.m. It's the irony of all the sinning that's going on in administration. They don't pay attention to it, and they put the chief of sinner among us. Like the chief sinner among us is the one that's supposed to be spreading this Christian nationalism. And that's wow. You know what I mean? Like, what a comment on our world today. Now, speaking of troubled waters, we have a very deep and growing archive of content, even some old stand-up clips. Although I call it stand-up. I don't know if the people that were actually there would call it comedy at all. I am happy to be here on the last weekend period. But we haven't actually added to the archive in a couple of months, and we're going to rectify that over the next few weeks, which makes this a perfect time to binge watch old videos if that is your preference, or you can join Troubled Waters and get a look at what the full archive complement actually looks like. And for those of you that are already members, I did post the links to the free trial for Patreon in the community tab, so make sure you check those out as well. Now, before I go, I would like to send a plea out to the ancestors. I see y'all on the rampage, and it has even come here home to DC. I have no idea who used to own my home. I don't, and I am not responsible. I don't even know them. I got nothing to do with them. So I don't know if you want what you want me to do. You want me to put something on the door or leave a light on upstairs, or just y'all send me a sign. You know what I mean? Just let me know what I need. You want me to put Soul Brother, Black Owned, like tell me something.